Hello, fellow Transformers. Good afternoon from my end here. Good morning and good evening, depending on where you are watching us from. It's good to be back here on your screens. And as always, we have our agent of transformation here, Dr. Boatemaa. Today, we are talking about a very important topic, fear. What is fear at all? And how often do you feel fear? Does it stop you from doing what you need to do? Doc is here to share with us her thoughts on fear and how we can overcome it. How we can still go on to achieve what we need to achieve despite the fear. So I would like to welcome Doc before everything else. Welcome, Doc.
Thank you, Akusia. Thank you for having me. And it's great to be back after the long break.
Yes, good to have you back. And we can't wait for the nuggets that you have for us today. So today we are talking about, as I said, a very important topic, fear. So Doc, what at all is fear? What is fear?
Okay, thank you, Akusia. So that's a big one for today. And I think fear is something that we can all identify with because it's part of us at same builds. So fear is an emotion that is usually triggered when there is a sense of danger. So it is something that is supposed to help us stay safe. So when I sense danger, then fear is activated. Then I decide whether I'm going to run or I'm going to stay and fight. So it's something that is supposed to protect us, help us stay safe. So it's part of us, like every other emotion, like joy, like love, like all those things we feel. It's part of us. And it can be good, can be bad, depending on how you allow it to work in your life.
Great. It can be good and it can be bad. So when can it be good and when can it be bad?
Okay, so like I said, if fear is helping you stay safe, then it's good. If fear helps you avoid unnecessary risks, then it's good. But then when the fear becomes overpowering so that it restricts you, it does not allow you to be at your best, it does not allow you to do what you're supposed to do, then it becomes bad. It becomes a hindrance in your life. And very often you see that the one that becomes restrictive, those ones are very often even perceived, not really there. They are not things that are dangerous to us, but they are things that we think are there that put us in that kind of restrictive corner.
Wow. But why at all does fear show up anytime you want to do something, especially something great? Why does fear show up?
So usually when you want to do something great, as you put it in quotes, you are venturing into new areas, and it's like even with our daily lives, if you are going into a new place, then you begin to wonder, am I going to face any challenges? Is there an animal looming? Is there any danger looming? You see. So even physically, as you step out, you have all those perceptions. And I think those are inbuilt, like I was saying, to help us stay safe. Because if I'm going into an unknown, all these things help me stay alert so that I will either stay and fight or I will run. Okay, so it's the same thing with life situations. If I am going into a new area or something that I perceive to be big, it's something that is unknown to me. All right. And so just as physically going somewhere new generates those kind of instincts and thoughts, it's the same thing that comes with it, with this new area that I'm going into. What's going to happen? With this new thing I want to do, am I going to succeed? Am I going to fail? So those things also trigger those same emotions as physically walking into a place that you are unaware of or it's new to you. So I think that's what brings about the fear in that kind of situation too.
Wow. But is there a way we can avoid this fear from showing up like completely? Is there a way we can just prevent it from showing up?
So I said it's part of us. So to me, I don't think we can prevent it from showing us, from showing up, sorry. but we can use it to our advantage. We can either use it to our advantage, or we'll learn how to overcome the restrictiveness of it.
Okay. So
So
now that
depending on
brings
who
us
you
to
are, where you are, what you are doing.
Oh, okay. So that brings us to the main topic for today, overcoming the fear. Now, from what Doc has said, it's not something that we can eliminate completely. So we should find a way to manage it, because it keeps coming whenever we have to do something. And we can't eliminate it. And so we have to find a way to live with it, so that even though it's present, we can still do what needs to be done. So overcoming fear, how can we overcome this friend monster, or this monster friend? How can we overcome it?
Thank you, Akusia. I think that if you will be able to deal with something, then you should know what you are dealing with. Okay. So the first step is being able to identify your fears. What makes you afraid? What are you afraid of? What is that fear? If you're able to isolate it, if you're able to break it down that way, then you know how to deal with it. What at all stimulates that kind of emotion in me? So if I know maybe it's venturing into something new, then you know how to handle it. So the first thing is to be able to identify the fear. When you're able to put tags on it, then you'll be able to deal with it. So that is the first thing that you can do. And once you have identified it, it is often said that the best way to overcome your fear is to face it. If you keep running away from it, then you will not overcome it. So you learn to face your fear. But then there's a word of caution there. The word is gradually. So you don't say, because we said you should face your fear, you go full blown, you go and stand in front of the fear, whatever. No. If you do that, sometimes the shock that you will get, you might never recover from that shock. So you expose yourself gradually. Something you take in bits, you break it down and take in bits. As you overcome each step, you move a step further into it. Okay, so the key word is gradually. You face your fear gradually. That is the next thing that you can do. And the other thing I was saying earlier, it is the unknown that very often generates the fear in most people. So once you have identified what is causing the fear, then you also learn about it. So if it's a new venture that I'm going into, that I'm reaching that fear, then you need to learn as much as you can about that venture. Knowledge, they say, is power. So once you have the knowledge, once you are well equipped, it takes away a lot of the fear, because then now you have confidence. Okay, if I'm going into a new place, and then let's say even if it's for it, so physically I'm moving somewhere, and then I study all about it. I know where the dangers are. I know what the dangers are, the possible challenges. Then you are well equipped to deal with them when you get there. They don't come as a surprise. All right. So once you're able to,
we have some breakages.
And you equip yourself well, it also brings the fear down drastically. It helps the fear to calm down. It calms you, and then okay, are we back now? Are we back?
Yes, we are back now. Yes,
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. So
good stuff.
Okay, so for the last thing I heard, like you have mentioned 3 ways that we can overcome fear. Then the first one is we identifying why we are afraid. Why are we afraid? Where is the fear coming from? And then the second one is facing the fear.
Yes, gradually.
Trying to break whatever. I mean, not just going to, if it's a lion, not just going to face the lion, but finding maybe strategies on how we can face the fear, or how we can overcome the fear. And finally, and most importantly, having the knowledge. Because once you have knowledge, as you said, knowledge is power. Once you know that after all, this huge mountain before me, if I know how to climb it, or if there is a trick or a strategy or something to follow to overcome it, then it becomes like a mere, ground or a flat something that I can deal with.
Yes.
Wow. That's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then let me quickly add this before we move on.
Okay.
The other thing we can also do is to set realistic goals. Sometimes when your goals are unrealistic, then fear is also generated because it seems too big to be achieved. Okay. But then if we look at our capabilities and then we set realistic goals, things that we can tackle a little at a time, that also helps us. It doesn't put us in that state where we incite the emotion of fear. Okay. And sometimes we need support. Let's not forget about it. We need support. Sometimes if it's a task that is too huge, you need people to come on board to help you. Sometimes you even need professional help in dealing with or overcoming the fear. Sometimes we need therapy. So that is also another thing, that let's not always think that we can do it on our own. Sometimes we can, some people can, but sometimes we need help. Sometimes we need to bring people on board to help us. Okay. And let's celebrate our success. That is where I will end. The list is quite long, but then I'll choose to end here today. Let's celebrate the little achievements that we are able to make. That also boosts our confidence. So if I know, oh, I did this yesterday and I was successful, then if I'm trying this today, I'm going in with some level of confidence. I don't look down so much on myself. But if you are so hard on yourself and you don't celebrate your achievements, then you are always looking down, you don't build the confidence. All right. So the little things you are able to do, give yourself a pat on the shoulder. And I think that will also boost you on to achieve more.
Wow. Thank you so much, Doc. So apart from knowing that, having knowledge, you have to also know your limits. You have to know your limits and seek for help when you need to. Okay, and celebrate the small wins. As Doc has said, your track record should give you the confidence that the next step you are taking is going to be another great one. Okay, but Doc, my last question, how can we draw the difference between the bad fear and the good fear? Because how would you know that this fear or this feeling I'm having, it means that there is danger? Or what I'm going to do, it's like maybe above me. It's not something I should attempt. How can you differentiate that from the one that should rather motivate or encourage you to go on to face it?
I think that it's a very thin line. It's a very thin line that sometimes is difficult to tell. But I would say that it all boils down to the knowledge you have and how well you equip yourself. So when you've studied where you are going so well, then you know the challenges there, you know what it takes, and you know your own capabilities. And based on that, you'll be able to assess and know whether it's something that you can do, whether it's something that's worth doing, something that you need to bring others on board. So once you have the knowledge, then you'll be well equipped to draw that line, to make that distinction. Well, sometimes, like I said, when you get the knowledge, then you know that, oh, then maybe most of the things you were feeling were only perceived. They are not really there. And then you know, then you have to move on. But then as you find out more too, sometimes you get to know that there are real dangers. There are real possibilities of failure. And once you know it, you also know how to maneuver it. So I will still draw it back to equipping ourselves with the knowledge, gaining the knowledge that we need.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Doc, for this nugget. So it all boils down to being knowledgeable, acquiring knowledge so that you know whether this is a real danger or this is just a perceived danger. Thank you so much, Doc, for these insights. And thank you so much, viewers. It was good coming to your screens Once again, see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.